Hi, everybody. Welcome. Can everyone hear me okay? I'm just entering the room here. My microphone should be on. But if anyone's here already in the chat, just give me a wave, say hi. I just want to check that you can hear me. Welcome, everyone. Hello, hello. Can somebody give me a heads up in the chat that you can hear me okay? Just want to make sure. Hi, Frank. Thanks for coming. Hi, Lawrence. Yeah, we can hear you. Fantastic. Awesome. All right. I'll wait another minute or so just to see if we have any more attendees coming. All right. Thanks so much for coming, everybody. Good morning. Happy Monday. Hi from California. Oh, hi, Lana. Yeah, it's a really nice day today here. It's really warm. That's awesome. Okay, so let's get started. Like I said, thank you so much for coming. Let's go through my design framework process. Before we start, I just wanted to real quick talk about Juneteenth, which is a holiday in the US, it was actually yesterday, but they're celebrating it today, and some people get Monday off work. I'm just going to pop into the chat an article written actually by one of my clients that has some really interesting and informative things to say about Juneteenth. I just wanted to call it out at the beginning of my presentation to say it's important. There's still Juneteenth, if anyone doesn't know, is the end of slavery in the US. There's still a lot of systematic racism abound, unfortunately, in the US, and I'm sure in lots of other places too. So I just want to point you towards this article and say, please read and see if you can learn something new. Okay, so design framework, and then we'll have a Q&A at the end. All right, let me bring up my presentation. Okay, can everyone see my screen? I'm sharing our presentation now. Okay, great. All right, so hi everyone. I'm Belinda, as you probably know already, from TechPacks Co. My company creates tech packs and we help brands go from design to development and into production. So why are we here today? So this framework is designed to help people who are stuck at the beginning of this process, stuck at the drawing board, not sure where to start with their collection, not sure how to get their designs onto paper, don't know how to, plan the collection, don't know how to get the designs drawn, kind of all of those beginner stage one questions. So let's talk about how we get started. I've made a 9-point framework to help you get the ball rolling and get you from this kind of preliminary stuck stage to finalized designs, finished sketches, pen on paper, a plan in place, and ready to start development and go into production. So that's the goal of the framework. So tell me about the beginning sticking points of being unsure where to start and feeling stuck? Why do you feel stuck? What is it that you want to happen with this process? Please feel free to comment in the chat. Do you want to plan out a whole collection? Are you just stuck on one particular design? Do you not know what the first step is? Do you not know how to produce commercial designs that are going to sell? You can just comment yes if anything I'm saying resonates with you. The thing I hear a lot from people is that they don't know how to pick ideas that are going to be commercial. They don't know what kind of products are going to resonate with their audience, and they don't know what people want to buy, right? So the first thing we want to achieve with this framework is, how do we create pieces that are sellable, right? That's the first goal. And the second thing we want to achieve with this framework is profitability, right? Another thing I hear from clients and our audience a lot is that they don't know how to do a costing. They don't know how to budget each design properly, or they get further down the line and they have sales, but they've realized nothing is profitable because they spent too much, and they didn't kind of plan for profit. So that's the second thing we want to achieve with the design framework. We want to make things profitable. And then the third part of the framework is beautiful, right? We're not here to, throw some ugly crap together that you're not proud of, right? Everybody who wants to get in design wants to make something beautiful that contributes to the world and makes it a better place, that you can be proud of, and that makes people want to open their wallets and give you their money and invest in something, right? So those are the 3 goals of this framework. So let's talk about how we get it done. What is step 1? So design step 1 is all about the research, right? This is the first thing you should be doing before you make any plans, before you start drawing, before you start shopping for fabrics, before you speak to manufacturers. The first thing to do, so important, is your research, okay? And we'll go into a bit more detail on that in a minute. The second thing to do is planning. So once you've done your research, you can take all of that data, all of that information, and put it into a very specific plan, right? So again, you're not yet buying fabrics, you're not yet drawing, you're not yet sampling and producing. You just want to distill that research and put it into this plan that we'll talk about more, and use that to then take you into the next step. And the final step is actually design, right? So design isn't first or second, it's third. Because I really want you to use the research and the planning tools that we give you in the framework to then actually shape your design, right? Okay, so let's go through research in a bit more detail. So 3 parts to this. What do you want to be researching? So first of all, your market, right? Where does your product sit? Let's say you were going to wholesale to a store. You don't have to, but if you were, what kind of store would it be? What kind of other brands would be stocked there? Where does that sit in the market, right? Is it premium? Is it luxury? What kind of products sell in this space? What kind of things do people buy in this space? What price point do people buy at in this market, right? All of these things are so important to know before you go any further. So yeah, researching your market is definitely the first step. And then we have your customer, right? Of course. So who's your audience? What are they all about? What's their demographic? What's their psychographic? Where do they shop? How much do they spend? What does their life look like? What does their day to day look like? And once you know things like that, you can start to think about, what kind of products are going to add value to their life. What kind of clothing do they prefer to wear? All of these choices can be traced back to, their lifestyle or their psychographic and what kind of person they are and how they want to look, right? So once you know your market, you can then target those specific customers and ask them questions and try and research their shopping habits to find out about them. So that's the second part of research. And then the third part of research is your brand, right? So once you know your market and your customer, you can start to formulate some kind of umbrella idea about the products you want to create, the direction you want to go in, the kind of brand you want to be, the kind of values you want to have, and um, you can start to put in place some concepts for your brand, right? So your brand is going to be the overall umbrella that different products that you sell are going to sit under. So you can use the market and the customer to kind of inform how you want that overall brand to look. And you should do that before you go into further details, planning out each design. Make sure you've got those things in place first and done. Okay, so those are the three research topics, and after that you can start putting a plan together. Once you have your brand, you can dive deeper and think about the first collection or a collection that you want to create and what the theme for this is going to be and the mood for this is going to be. And Faggy, are you all muted? Yes, you are muted, but you can type questions in the chat. So if you have any questions as we go, type them in the chat and we'll go through all of the questions at the end. Okay, so the theme for the collection, the mood for the collection, what's the cohesive tone that you want these products to be designed under, because they all need to look good together and sit well together. Not only from a merchandising standpoint, but if you want somebody to buy two pieces, they're much more likely to do that if the pieces go together with each other, or one is an upsell for the other. Okay, so once you have your brand, you can start putting together your theme and your mood that you want to launch a collection through. So for example, that might be, let's say you design bag products. You might be thinking of launching a collection for next winter, and you might want to launch one or two bags under the theme of, commuting in the rain, let's say, right? So once you have an idea for the first group of pieces that you want to create, or the one piece, then you can start thinking about how these pieces will be merchandised and put together and sold together. How do you want each one to appear different from the other? How is each piece going to be colored, going to be fabricated, going to look different in, shape and texture? And from here, you're going to start putting together a rough kind of plan for each of the pieces if you're going to do multiple pieces, right? So is it a top that goes with a skirt, that goes with a piece of outerwear, or is it three different pieces, right? once you have the theme and the mood for the collection, you can start to put in place a plan for the different pieces or products that you want to actually sell together. And this kind of links in with the next point, which is fabric. The fabric is so important to think about before you get into the design stage, because it has such a huge influence on the feel and the look of the design and the product when it's actually made, right? So at the same time as you are merchandising your collection and thinking about what you want the different pieces to be, this is the stage where you want to be thinking about fabric. So it's kind of towards the beginning before you actually start designing. Start doing research on different materials, go to different fabric stores and have a feel of different materials. Go to some stores and look at actual products for material ideas. And as you are planning each piece out in the collection, plan what material each piece is going to be using, and try and be strategic about it at this stage as well. So, can you make multiple products in the same fabric to kind of get economies of scale and get a better price on your fabric? And at this kind of early fabric and collection stage, you can start a budget sheet for each of the pieces that you're going to create as well. So start planning the budget out for each piece now while you're kind of in this ideation stage, while you're in this planning stage. And using that sheet, you can track all of the costs for the products, and make sure that you are leaving room to actually profit. Make sure that you're actually leaving room for the cost of production, and set all of that up now so that when you go into the design stage, you already have your costing sheet started, and it's kind of open on your computer screen in tandem with you doing your actual design, right? So when you're doing your design, you don't get tempted to add too many features, over design, add a thousand different pockets that aren't necessary, right? That's something I see happening to people who are, doing a collection for the first time or designing the first product. It's really easy to over engineer it and add things that aren't really necessary for your customer. So having your budgeting, but your costing or your budgeting sheet right there can really help with that. Okay, so you've got your theme and the plan for the collection, and you've picked out the materials and planned what each piece is going to be. Finally, now you can actually get into the third design stage and put pen to paper and start drawing out some things. So think about stage one of design, the style and the fit. So first thing you want to make clear is you've got your design idea. What is it going to look like structurally? What's the style of it? How does it fit? Is it slim fit? Is it oversized? Is it skinny? Extra large, extra small? And what is the style gonna look like? So make some mood boards, do some research, do some drawings, napkin sketches, whatever it is. You can use pen and paper, use the computer, it really doesn't matter. Just start actually fleshing out the rough shape of your design. And then you can get into the decorative details. So once you kind of have a fit and a body for the product you want to create, you can think about what you actually want to go on there decoration wise. So is it going to have a print on it? Is it going to have your logo on it? Is it going to have a beautiful all over, artwork or graphic? Is it going to be plain? Does it have other trims and decorations and fastenings, things like that? And then once your design is detailed and fleshed out, you are at the final stage of the design process, which is the technical stage, right? So you're going to want to take this design sketch that has all of the details on and get into the technical nitty gritty. How is it constructed? What are the materials on the inside? What does it look like from behind? All of those details. And that's where something like a tech pack is going to come into play. And once you have thought through all of the technical details, only then are you ready to start sampling your product, having somebody help you make a first sample, or speaking to factories, or contacting somebody to sell your product. That is the last stage of the process once you've figured out all the technical stuff. So that's the design framework. I hope it's super simple. That's how I've designed it to be understood, easy and simple. So does anybody have any questions about the framework or just general design questions that I can answer, or not even? Like I said, design comes first, and then you get into the technical, and then you can take all of that information and start going down the development process and going into production. So does anyone have any questions that I can answer? Could be about the framework or about something else. Okay, well, I'll give you a few minutes to note those down. And in the meantime, oh, Lana has a question. Pricing question. Costs should go down with larger quantities. Does it make sense to set your retail price based on the actual cost of the first production run or the potential cost that can be achieved with later quantities? Yes, great question, Lana. I think you can do whatever makes sense for your brand, and it doesn't have to be set. It doesn't have to be set in stone. It can change, but I would say this is a really hard topic, because if you are a new designer, making a profit is very difficult to do right at the beginning when you're starting off with a really small production run, right? So I would say it makes sense to set your retail price on neither of those, not your cost of the first production run or the costs that can be achieved later with a larger production run. I would say you should be setting your price based on the original market research that you do and the original research that you do with your customers. So what do other products in your market cost? And is your product going to be more expensive than those? Is it going to be cheaper than those? Is it going to be the same as those? But that kind of research process is what should be setting your price, not your production costs, right? Because I say that because you may find out that the design is just not doable with the costs that you've researched, and that's okay. But you want to find that out now before you start production. You don't want to price your product according to the cost of the production run, do the production run, and then not be able to actually sell anything, right? Because then you're not going to make any profit anyway. So I would keep the price based on that market research. You don't necessarily have to sell a product for the same price as what other people in your market are selling it for. You should just be aware that if you're selling it for more or less, then if you're selling it for more, then that should be intentional, or less, that should be intentional, right? I hope that makes sense. All right, Aisha, the questions we are posting here are getting added on a different list, or is it just for me? Yeah, you're welcome, Lana. Okay, so we have some more questions in the question and answer tab. Okay, I didn't see those. So if you want to see these questions as well, they are in the questions tab, not in the chat. So I have a question from Aisha. Okay. Can we have more tips on how to approach fabric sourcing, how to ask for samples from vendors and get vendors get very technical about the fabric composition. As beginners, how to tackle this? Yes, great question. So this is really where the technical bit of the framework comes in that you would do at the end. So first of all, when you're in the planning stage, I would do a lot of research on different fabrics so that you can know the answers to these very technical questions from vendors, right? So that could include going to other shops that sell similar products and seeing what those products are made from. That could also include going to fabric shows. Those are really helpful to learn from because you will be able to speak to vendors in a setting where they are exhibiting, so they're there to help you and answer your questions. They'll give you the time of day to, have a detailed conversation about exactly what you need. So yeah, I would recommend if you're stuck with a conversation with a fabric supplier and you don't know the technical information to give them, go to a fabric show to do some research or consult a technical expert, speak to your the person who's making your tech packs, or speak to your pattern maker, or speak to your factory, or speak to your sample maker and see if they can help you with these questions as well. Hope that's helpful, Aisha. Okay. Next question. How many pieces are appropriate to release for a season? 5 or 7? 5 to 7. Okay, Mallory. Great question. The answer, in my opinion, is as little as possible. So, how many pieces do you need to translate your vision and show your concept to buyers, right? The more pieces you do, the more difficult this whole thing is to pull off, right? Especially if it's your first time making a product or starting a collection. There are so many different pieces, so much going on. It can be really difficult just to develop one product in a short amount of time and get it to market. So yeah, if you can test this out as quickly and as cheaply as possible by just launching one product to your audience, then great, just launch one. If you can't do that, think about doing it with 2 or 3, but I would definitely say keep it to as little pieces as possible. Because this is difficult to do. It's so hard to get all the details right if you're new to this business. Manufacturing is messy and complicated. So yeah, I would say you can kind of test your market and validate your concepts by just launching one product, and just keep it simple the first time around. You can always do more collections once you have an audience and once you have buyers with more pieces. In fact, that's the goal. So yeah, less than you think. I hope that helps. Okay. And one more from Aisha. now as I'm talking to manufacturers, I realize they want our budget for the style. I get nervous at this stage. Any tips on how to approach this? Yeah, I don't think you need to be nervous about that. You can definitely share with them your retail price, because that's going to be public. Everyone's going to need to know your retail price to buy something. Um, and once they know your retail price, an industry standard way that you can break down the pricing structure, um, that people use to, like budget their piece. So that brings me to the last thing I was going to talk about in this Q&A session, which is our program called Design Your First Fashion Product. So in the program, we go through in detail this 9-part framework that I've just showed you here. And in the costing module, costing lesson, sorry, we have a spreadsheet with a breakdown on the industry standard way to cost your product. So you start up, and then the sheet calculates for you the budget that you can then assign for different things. So you'll assign a portion to be your profits, obviously, because this is a commercial venture, so you've got to actually make money. Then you would take a portion for your production costs, which will be your cut and sew, and the cost for your fabric, and the cost for development. So all of these things are broken down in the sheet. So once you have your retail price from your research, you can then see how much you need to be spending on production, or how much you can afford to spend on production or materials or whatever it is. And like Lana said, it might not quite work for your first production run. If you're doing very small quantities, it's likely to be much more expensive. So potentially your costing might not all add up the first time you do it, but the goal is that you have it there, and you have a plan for it to be profitable. And if you don't get there the first time, you can hopefully get there the second time. So yeah, I hope that helps, Aisha. Okay, so the design framework program, which is called Design Your First Fashion Product, you can view it by clicking the button at the bottom. I put it there. And we're just opening the program for another 2 days. So you've got till the end of the day on Wednesday to buy. And we are offering it right now for $3.95. And we're also adding in some freebies if you do purchase it. So we, along with the course, we are offering our fabric sourcing directory. We are offering our manufacturing directory. We're offering our TechPack templates. And we are offering, what was the other thing? Oh, the fashion drawing templates. So yeah, if you want to join the program and get started with the new group of students, we're starting on July the 5th. And we're offering it for purchase for the next 2 days if you want to join us. And yeah, like I said, you get those 4 extra products included with the price, as well as this whole design framework program. Aisha, that's really helpful. Never thought of discussing the desired retail price. Yes, yeah, definitely discuss your retail price with your production, because they may be able to help strategize your product, advise you on different choices that you could make, perhaps to either make it more profitable, take something out to make it cheaper, or swap something out to make it cheaper. They just might have good suggestions for you if you share the prices that you're going to retail at. Yeah, it can be helpful for negotiation, even if it might feel counterintuitive. I get that. But yeah, you can definitely use it to negotiate. Um, and yeah, like Lana was saying, it is really difficult when you do your first collection and you're only doing small quantities. Um, but um, but yeah, if you get a bit more creative at the costing and negotiating stage, that might help you. So yeah, as much cooperation as you can have with your supplier is good. Um, and you might be able to work out an agreement with them that, even though you're placing a very small order now, you agree to, either place a bigger order later, or to just pay more now for this initial production run, but then for the second production run, get a better price, things like that. So you kind of have to think outside of the box. If you find out initially that the prices aren't great. Um, okay, does anyone else have any other questions that I can answer? Doesn't have to be about design. We can talk about production or tech packs or anything else that anyone is stuck on. Would you recommend visiting the factory once they start manufacturing your collection? Question from Lana. Yes, absolutely. If you can afford to and you have the time, yeah, it's always a good idea to build as much of a relationship as you can with your suppliers, however that may be. That's not to say, if you can't visit, then don't work with them or don't do it. I don't mean that, but yeah, visits are great. And like I said, you want to be in a long-term relationship with your supplier. So yeah, if you can afford to visit them, great, do that. Um, it's great for you to understand as much as possible about how your product is made and what they're doing, and just putting your face to your business name might help them kind of develop their relationship with you. And if it's not possible to visit the factory, if it's overseas and you can't get there or whatever, then you can always hire a factory audit service to go and visit for you. Normally, companies offer this kind of service. So you can have them visit. They can fill out reports for you. They can take photos for you. They can do like video FaceTime kind of sessions for you, and help you like meet the people there kind of thing on FaceTime or Zoom or whatever, and give you a tour of the factory, things like that. So that's another option. Any tips on how to structure the purchase order, like terms to add if they deliver late? Yeah, great question. So we have a free purchase order form that you can download on the website, but you definitely want to think about terms as well. Um, as well as terms on a purchase order. If you are doing things like adding late fees or late penalties, you should really have a manufacturing contract as well, which is something that you would need to talk to a lawyer about, obviously, as I can't give you legal advice. And you would need to speak to somebody who is like a specialist in the country that you are manufacturing in, and have them write like a legal agreement for you and your factory that has all of these details in. But to common things for late delivery that you can add are sometimes people have financial penalties if it's so many days late. And some people, yeah, it's normally a financial penalty if something is being delivered late. But you have to be very explicit in explaining what the penalty is, and what the dates are and things like that. What is a manufacturing contract from Aisha? Um, it's a contract between you and your factory that lays out all of the terms of your agreement. So it has things like what to do if they deliver late, how much are they charging you, what's the price for samples, what are the delivery times, is it FOB, things like that. So yeah, like I said, if you want a manufacturing contract, you have to speak to a lawyer who can draft one for you. And they would have to be somebody who works in the country that you are manufacturing in, because obviously, China is different from India, which is different from Pakistan, etc., etc. Okay, question from Lawrence. How do we get a supplier to reduce the MOQ? So a few different things. You could ask them to reduce the MOQ just once on a first order, and then agree to have the original MOQ on a second order. And if they don't agree to that, you could maybe sign some kind of agreement saying that you are going to be doing that. Or that's one idea. Or what else could you do? You could reduce the number of materials that you're using. So you could simplify something on the material side, and then they've got less things to buy for your product, which might make it easier to do at a low MOQ. Or you could remove anything from your design that needs like custom dyeing or custom molding, things like that, because those like custom tools and molds that they have to create at the beginning to produce your design, they are super expensive. So they don't that's one reason why they may have the MOQ in the first place, because they know that they can't make the money back on those like upfront expensive costs of like tools and molds. So if you can somehow change your design to not need those, then they might be able to lower the MOQ for you. Or you could reduce the number of different colors that your product comes in. That might help as well. You could also ask if there are any like in stock materials that they have already that you could use for your products, so that they don't have to get new components or fabrics or whatever from a supplier. That might make the MOQ go down. And let's see, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Yeah, I would try one of those few things. Oh, and then as a last port of call, you can always just say, I'll pay more per unit if you decrease the MOQ. Yeah, if that's what you have to do to get it done, that's what you have to do. Hopefully it's just for, your first production one, right? And once you've got that done and sold, you can come back and do it again more profitably. Yeah. Okay, my pleasure. Any other questions? If not, I will just take you through our program, the Design Your First Fashion Products program. So let me switch my screen share so you can see my other page. Okay. All right, just give me 1 sec to set that up. Okay, here we go. So let me make that a bit smaller so I can still see my window. Okay. So this is the Design Your First Fashion Product course. Let me make that small. So we are starting a new group of students off on the 5th of July, which is a Tuesday. And we have a course put together that goes through this framework in detail. And the goal is we are trying to get you off the drawing board, get the ball rolling, get all of your designs onto paper, make sure you have fully fleshed out design ideas for each of your concepts. You have a plan for production, and you have a costing for each design to make sure you're profitable or soon to be profitable. And we help you get unstuck and get your collection started, launch your first products, create your brand, and really just get past all of those design sticking points. So if you are confused about if you're doing it right, if you're doing the right research, you don't know which contractors you need to be speaking to, or you're spending too much money on another designer who isn't working out for you, we want to help you get away from that and get into a fully planned collection, sellable designs, not spending too much time on this, getting the ball rolling quickly on getting into production and getting your line out there and getting sales, all of that good stuff. So we have the Design Your First Fashion Product course, and it has 5 modules. And we are offering it, like I said, until Wednesday the 22nd, alongside these other free bonuses. So we've got our drawing templates, we've got the tech pack template, we've got our manufacturing directory, we have our fabric suppliers directory as well, and all of these are being bundled together with anyone who wants to buy the course in the next 2 days. So yeah, like I said, this course is really for beginners who are trying to get their brand started, new designers, startups, anyone really who wants to learn how to create commercially viable product designs. So yeah, the blue greenish button at the bottom is where you can check it out. It's $395, or we have a 2-part payment plan, which is $215 for each payment. And how does the course work? So the course starts on July 5th, like I said, and after that time, you'll have access to all of the materials, the videos, the worksheets, the templates. You can download all the slides from the lessons. We have links to extra resources if you want to dig deeper. And each lesson has questions and comments sections, so you can, ask me or my team anything you need to know. You can post your own designs or links if you want to, get feedback from other people. And you can also join our Facebook group we have for designers if you want to, be in a community where you can ask for feedback or have accountability, things like that. And yeah, once you've bought and you have your login, you'll have lifetime access to all the material. We update it We update it at least once a year with new things. When we get feedback from students, they give us ideas on new worksheets and materials that we can add to help them. So we're always updating it. So yeah, this is really for you if you want to expedite your process and get going, get unstuck. We've broken it all down into a step-by-step process. All of the lessons are video lessons, so it's just easy to watch and understand. And yeah, this is what it's like when you buy and you sign in. You've got the 5 modules with all the different lessons and worksheets and things. And then we have some FAQs at the bottom of this page if you have any questions about the program. And as well, you can email me or my team. I'm Belinda at techpacks.co, or you can email us at mail@techpacks.co if you have questions. And yeah, I would love to see you there in the course. Don't forget about all of the free products that we've bundled in. It's just available until Wednesday, like I said, so that we can open up on June the 5th and have everybody start together on the same day. And once we start, you'll get accountability emails to make sure everyone is staying on track and keeping up with the lessons. And yeah, that's the Design Your First Fashion Product framework and program. And I should also mention that we are offering a discount to any BIPOC people or any differently abled people who would like to join the course but don't have the resources to do that. Please send me an email and we will hook you up with a discount code. And yeah, if you have any friends who would be interested in this course, please let them know about it. You can send them my email address if they want to email us for the discount code. And yeah, I hope to see you there. You've got 2.5 days left to decide. And like I said, you have my email address if you have any other questions. So I think I'm gonna leave it there for today, unless anybody else wants to ask a real quick question before the hour is up. We've got a few minutes left. No questions? Okay, great. Oh, and the last thing I wanted to mention today, I'm happy that I have remembered on time. We are using the same offer period, the next 2 days, to also offer our Tech Pack services at a discount, which we never normally do, but we're just going to do it for the next 2 days. If we have anyone in our audience or any existing clients, we are offering our Tech Pack services at 10% off just for the next 2 days. If anyone would like to make use of that, again, please email me or book a free consultation on our website. Again, we're offering 10% off our normal Tech Pack services for anyone who wants to pay in full and get started in the next 2 days. Okay. Thanks so much, everyone, for coming. I appreciate you all. I hope you learned something today and that this was helpful and interesting. And yeah, we'll send you an email later today with the recording, just in case you want to come back to it. And thank you so much for coming. Bye, everyone. Have a great Monday. Thank you.